For a truly customized design, you can import custom 3D objects into your Envisioneer drawings or catalog from any outside source. The Object Import Wizard makes it easy to import DWG, DXF, SKP, or 3DS files. These types of files can be from manufacturers' websites, or you can get SketchUp files from the 3D warehouse. Once you have sourced the file you want to use, all you need to do is import it. So let's go up to 3D Warehouse and let's find a block that we can import. So I'm going to go to 3D Warehouse and I'm going to log in and I'm just going to do a search for a couch and I'm going to hit enter. This will bring up a list of all the different blocks available to me that I'm going to be able to import into Envisioneer. So I'm going to find a couch that matches exactly what I would want to use. I'm going to also keep in mind the size of the files. And you can see here a lot of these files are fairly large. I'm going to find one that's pretty small in size, but is also going to be very detailed to what I want to show. So this couch right here is going to be perfect for what I want to use. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to click download. And I'm just going to download the SketchUp file. That's going to save it to the downloads folder for me. And all I'm going to do now is go into Envisioneer. And now I'm going to go up and I'm going to select File, Import. And I'm going to select the Object Wizard option. In here, I'm going to give the object a name, and I'm just going to call this Couch. Next, I want to define the type of element that I want to be importing. So we know that this is going to be a couch, so it's going to be a part of the interior furniture folder. So I'm going to use the drop down, and I'm going to select Interior Furniture. This just ensures that when the catalog is updated with the new element, it's saving it to the correct spot within the catalog. Next, we can see that we have an insert on location and an insert on terrain option. Depending on the element type that you choose, this will allow you to choose between those two options. Since this is an interior element, it's going to refer to the location. Next, we can choose the file type that we want to bring in. I'm going to select the select button and then I'm going to go to the downloads folder and I'm going to say open. This is going to bring up a message asking me to force the import of the SketchUp file as single-sided, and it's going to be selected as recommended. We do recommend that you do convert it to single-sided. This will help reduce the size of the files that you're bringing in. SketchUp blocks are created with two sides to a face, a front side and a back side. We're essentially just taking the front side when we're bringing in these blocks when you use this option. If you happen to bring in the block and it looks incorrect as you're seeing through it, then you will need to re-import it and select no to this dialog. We're going to say yes to see how it looks, and then we're going to do a little quick spin around just to see, and everything looks good. So I don't need to re-import it by selecting the select button again. So all we have to do now is specify the component type that we want to bring in. So here we can see that it's set to by material. Since this is a SketchUp block, it will be by material always. But if you were to bring in a DWG or a DXF file, you would have by material or by color or by layer in here. So you can choose any one of those options. We're going to keep our set to by material, and we're now going to select next. This is going to bring up the orient your element. And the best way to describe this is the red is going to represent the floor and the blue is going to represent a wall. So you're going to be able to use the arrows to flip the block around to make sure that it's mapping or it's oriented in the way that you want. Most of the time, the blocks that you find should already be oriented correctly, but you can again use these to flip them around, again, to map them exactly where you want within that view so it's oriented correctly. We're going to select next. And this is going to bring up the control your component visibility in 3D. And what this option allows you to do is it allows you to control what it is that you want to see in 3D. And you're also going to be able to go through and adjust the names of the components in here. So here we can see we have default SketchUp color, SketchUp edges, and you can turn the visibility off to see if anything turns off. And in this case, there is nothing. These are going to be default elements that come in with SketchUp, and there's not much we can do with these since we're just importing the block from a 3D warehouse. So someone else has created this. If you were creating your own objects in SketchUp, you could assign an actual layer or an actual material to these so that they're actually being used. What we're going to do here is we're going to double click in the name and we're going to see what these materials are. We're going to call this one fabric, and we're going to say horizontal, and then we're going to change this one to be legs because we can tell that that's the legs, and then we're going to change this one to be fabric edge. So this just allows us to quickly identify what these materials are being used for. And then we're going to select the next option. And this is going to bring up the control component visibility and plan view. Again, if you created this yourself in SketchUp, you could define an actual SketchUp edge to show the outline of the couch or the object that you're bringing in. In this case, we don't have anything to use, so I'm just going to turn the visibility off on everything. And I'm going to take advantage of the slice tool. So I'm going to use the drop down, I'm going to select slice, and then I get this little slide bar. And I'm able to bring this slide bar up, and it's going to cut through the object that I'm importing. So I want this to go through the cushions and through the back of the couch. Once I have that specified where I want, I'm just going to click on the add option, and you're going to see that it shows up as slice 0. You can again double click in here and say I just want this to be 2D plan, so that way you can very easily identify what it is. And now all we have to do is select next. This will bring us to the finish importing the object dialog box, and all we have to do now is select finish, and then we're going to left click anywhere in our drawing area to insert our new couch, and then we're going to right click and select finish to end that command. After inserting the new block into our drawing area, you can edit the properties further by double clicking on the new element. So I'm going to double click on our new couch, and this is going to bring up the interior furniture dialog box, and you're going to see in brackets it says document. So this couch is actually just inserted into the document right now. So any changes that we make to this is going to be a part of the document that we're working in. As you can see under the basic tab, the size of the couch is pretty large. So I want this couch to be about 7 feet in width. That's a typical size for a couch. So I'm going to set mine to be 7 feet. And you're going to notice that I have the uniform scale option still selected. Once I make the change to the width, it's going to constrain everything, and it's going to make sure that everything else stays the same, and it just scales it properly, so it's all a uniform scale. Next, we're going to go to the Appearance tab. And under the Appearance tab, you can go through and you can assign different materials if you want to the elements that you're working on. Again, we're just going to keep the fabric that was used with the block from SketchUp, so I'm not going to change anything in regards to the appearance here. Under the Line Work tab, I do want this to show in a different line color. So I'm going to select everything. So I'm going to select the first option, hold my Shift key down, and select the last option. And then in the layer where it says None Selected, I'm going to choose Interior Furniture. This will just help with the display of the item when it's in my model view. And if I go to insert it into my working drawing sheets, I will see the correct layer color for the elements of the block that I've inserted. I'm just going to right click and go back into a 3D view. And then we can go to the Quantity tab. Now under the Quantity tab, this is where you're going to be able to define exactly what quantity information you want for the block that you're importing. So this is going to be an interior element. So I'm going to make sure that it is set to Interior Finish. For the phase, the category is going to be Interior Furniture. The division is going to be a division number that you can find online. I typically go to the ARCAT and I just basically go through the CSI divisions. And in here, I'm going to be in Division 12 because this is going to be a furnishings division. So I'm going to scroll through the list of the different furnishings, and I can see all the different categories for it. And here I can see the subdivision of 125000, which is furniture, but it breaks it down even further. So I can actually go right in to residential furniture, and I can see that couches and love seats are actually a division number of 12, 58, 13. So I'm going to go back into Envisioneer, and I'm just going to go 12, 58, 13. Part number can be anything that you want that's going to define that element. So if this is a couch from a manufacturer and they have a specific SKU or part number for it, you would enter that in. I'm just going to type in couch for ours. Alt code can be used for different sorting options. I'm going to leave mine blank for now, but you can go through and adjust this to be any kind of a sorting queue that you want. But again, we're going to leave ours blank. For the usage, again, we're going to use the drop down and we're going to select interior finish. And then our units of measure, we are going to be purchasing a couch as each. So I'm going to make sure that I have this set to each, and I'm going to say OK. You can apply a mark to your furniture or to the block that you're importing if you want to. And then you can also control the quantities if you want it to show up in the reports, or if you want to replace the element that's being inserted with actual assemblies. In this case, no, I don't want to do any of that, so I'm going to leave that as it is. The last tab is the Behavior tab. And in the Behavior tab, this allows you to control how that object is going to be imported. So as you can see, we have a position which allows us to control the distance above our current location or terrain. And right now it's set to 0. Since this is a couch, it will be at 0, so it sits it on top of our floor. If this was a light fixture or something that I was attaching to the wall, I would be able to define how high off of the location I want that element to sit. We can also define snap edges, and this is going to work in conjunction with your collision tool. So if I set this couch to have the back be my snap point, what this will do is anytime I insert that couch, it's going to snap the back of the couch up against the wall. I'm now going to say OK, and that's going to adjust that new element for us in my document. Now, this again is just a part of the document file. I want to save this to my catalog. So to do that, I'm going to go up to File, Catalogs, and I'm going to select the Save Element to Catalog. I'm going to click on the couch, and it's going to ask me, would you like to save couch to the catalog? Yes, I would. You're then going to get another dialog asking, would you like to save any other elements? So if you've inserted multiple elements and you've adjusted them and now you're just saving everything to the catalog, you would say, yes, I want to save something else to the catalog. If you're done saving things to the catalog, simply select no, and it now adds that couch to the catalog for us. And over here on the right-hand side in the catalog panel, you'll see that it's actually added it into a new folder called Root Node, and we can see it at the bottom here. Well, I don't want it in Root Node. I actually want it in the couch folder. So I'm going to go back into File, Catalogs, and I'm going to select Element Manager. In the Element Manager, we will now see that new couch is located under Root Node. All I have to do here to move it in the correct spot is left-click on it, left-click and hold, and I can now move my cursor in the folder where I want this couch to go, and then I can just simply release my left mouse button, and it's going to move that couch into the Sofas folder. I can move it within that Sofas folder wherever I want, so it sits at the bottom of the list, or if this is going to be a couch I'm going to use most often in my designs, I can move it to the very top of my list. You have full control over where you want to place that within each folder. The only other thing I would do here is you can select the Root Node folder, right-click, and select Delete to get rid of that miscellaneous folder that you no longer need. I'm going to then save my catalog with it being selected, so I'm going to say OK. And that now adjusts the catalog so that the new couch is the very first couch in my list. We hope this tooltip helps you moving forward. If you like what we're creating, be sure to like and subscribe for future content. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know in the comments section below. Thank you very much.